This video is going to walk you through the last 3 exercises of the discounting exercises spreadsheet. So we're starting in on exercise 3, where instead of present values, now we're talking about future values. The problem in this case is to build a model to calculate the future value of $90 in 1 year. And we're assuming a discount rate of 4%. Again, that 90 and that 4, those are both going to be variables that can change in each different version of the model. So what you actually do for your assignment may be different than those numbers. All right, so before we get into actually building our model in Excel, let's just go through the math. All right, so if we want to get our future value at time 1, that's going to equal our cash flow at time 0 times 1 plus R. All right, so we have our formula there. So to code that up now, or to build our model, what we need to do is get in our first cell here. And we're going to start out with year 0, right? Before we had our first cash flow occurring in time 1 when we were doing our present value exercises. Now we're assuming we get that cash at the beginning, so we're starting in year 0. So in year 0, our cash flow or our payment is going to be that $90. Again, I'm using F4 to lock the cell references. Now our future value of $1, that's going to be based on our discount rate. So here we do 1 plus R, that 4%. In this case, we can raise it to the 1 because it's only for 1 year. To get our future value of our cash flow or our payment, now we simply multiply those together. And we get the $93.60. We can use a quick sum function to add up that one cell. All right, we got that answer correct. Now we can go on to exercise 4. To get to that next tab, I'm going to hit the control page down. All right, now in this tab, we're going to do that same $90. We're going to get it annually, but now we're getting it annually for 19 years. So we have to change our formula a little bit. If we go back over to our formula, now we're not interested in the future value at time 1. We're interested in the future value at time t. And we're getting our cash flow still at time 0, at least for this first cash flow. So then we're going to raise this to the t. So we have to do that 1 plus r, and we have to compound for 19 years to get us all the way out to time t. So let's go ahead and get that into our spreadsheet. We start at time 0. We get our cash flow of 90. And now we have to do our future value of $1. Now we're going to start with 1 plus R. Again, our 4%. But now we have to figure out what power to raise it to. In this case, we need to raise it to the 19th power because we're going to be doing this annually for 19 years. So it's 19 years until we calculate that future value. So here we can do 19. All right, so that $1 today is worth $2.11 in the future. So that $90 in 19 years is going to be worth $189.62. Okay, so that's just our first cash flow though. We have 18 more cash flows to account for. So for year, we're going to do plus 1. Our payment is going to be the same. We can just set it equal to the cell above. Our future value though is going to be a little different. Now it's not raised to the 19. Now it should be 18, right? Because we have 18 years left once we get this cash flow in 1 year. So we can actually go back to our formula, and in this case, rewrite that the future value, in this case at time 18, is equal to cash flow at this point in time 1 times 1 plus R to the 18th. And actually, I need to correct that because the cash flow or the future value date is all the same. So we're valuing everything as of time 19 in the future, but now the cash flow is coming in 1 year later. So we have cash flow in year 1, and we're going to compound it for 18 years forward. So going back to our Excel to do that, we're going to get back into that cell, and now we can do 19 minus, and here we can use our model, the year that's there. So that way we're going to have an 18 in this case. And as we drag that formula down, we can actually just copy this portion down by 1. We see that that formula updates. And so as we get to the second year cash flow, we have cash flow. Instead of 1, we now have cash flow 2. And instead of 18 years, we now have 17 years of discounting. So that formula is going to update for us as we go down. We can copy our future value of our payments. And once we have that set up in row 3, now we can copy that down and go down until we get 19 years. In this case, we're at 15, so 16, 17, 18, 19. Now we have 19 years of cash flows. And actually, I went to 19 years, but that's one too many, right? If I go over here and highlight this all, if you see in the bottom right, actually, I'm standing in the way. Let me get out of the way. You can see down here at the bottom, it says that the count is 20. We have 20 cash flows there. And so we actually only want 19. So let me go back to the bottom, delete this last row. And now we should be able to add those up and get the future value of all those 19 years of cash flows. And we see, yes, the answer is correct. We got 2590.03. And now we have one last exercise to work through, exercise 5. So let's control page down to get there. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Again, control alt plus is the shortcut key to get you there. So what happens in this model now is that we're going to save $7.50 monthly for 19 years. So we've just made this model bigger, right? Nothing is fundamentally changing about how we approach this problem. We're just doing cash flows and we're saving every month rather than every year. So given that this problem is so similar to the last one, let's use control page up to go back to that tab. Let's copy our first few rows to build our model based on, and then paste them over here. And now we just want to do a quick check to make sure everything's changed appropriately. I'm going to do Control Shift $sign to change that so I can see $77.50. My future values, now these don't look correct, right? Because they're not going to be 4% for 19 years, right? We need to do 4% divided by 12 to get a monthly rate. So that's the first adjustment I need to make. And now we're not doing 19 years, we're doing 19 times 12 months. Right? So we see that $2.11 changed to $2.14. And what's happening there is we're getting compounding on top of our compounding. So we're actually going to end up with a little bit more from that first payment. Now we can copy that cell down now, but let's make sure we get it right because we need to not have $2.14, right? We need to change our periods every time based on the months that have already passed. So we got to still go back in and subtract our month off. So now we see that saving in the first month gives us $2.14, second month $2.13, third month $2.12. So that's going to keep decreasing as we go out into the future. So as before, we got to copy this down. Before I do, we need to know how far to copy to. So my multiplication, I'm just going to do 19 times 12. Tells me I need 228 rows. So let's go ahead and copy this thing. To go quickly, I'm going to do Shift Page Down. That lets me go down pretty quickly until I get to 228 or so. Let's paste that. I went a little too far, so let's back off these last few cash flows. Double check that I have the right number, 229. I went one too far like I did last time. We only should go to 227 because we have that time 0 cash flow is when our first cash flow occurs. So to get 228, we only go to 227. And then finally, I can come in here and add these all up. We do our sum, add everything, and we see that our answer is correct. In this case, I got all 5 exercises correct, and it tells you how many times you used the mouse. As in all these exercises, we're going to track how often you're using the mouse, just so you're aware of that. Right? The less you use the mouse, the faster you're going to be. All right, we have our results there. You can see my elapsed time was quite long. I was working on a couple of videos over a little while here. The last thing I want to point out is going between exercise 5 and exercise 4. So notice in exercise 4, when we got $90 annually for 19 years, it was worth $25.90.03. Go to exercise 5, that was worth $25.63.56. So one question you might ask is, why is it worth less when I am saving monthly? All right, and there are actually 2 competing forces here. One, we see that that first cash flow is only worth $2.11 in the yearly model. In the monthly model, it's worth $2.14. So saving earlier is worth more, and that's because of the compounding. Right? Remember, we're compounding the interest over time, so you're getting a higher effective rate of interest because you're getting interest on your interest every month. Right? So that's one thing that helps. What hurts, though, is in exercise 4, you're saving $90 all at the beginning of at time 0, at the beginning of the first year. which means you get interest on that full $90 for the entire year. However, in exercise 5, you're only saving $7.50 in that first month of the year, and then $7.50 the next month, and so on. So you're saving later in the year, and that's not enough to offset that extra compounding you get. So as a result, you end up with about $30 less in this case with the going monthly, because we're delaying when we're saving those cash flows. All right. Keep practicing this exercise. Try to get the whole discounting exercise as quick as you can. Don't use the mouse too much, and really just practice the idea of building these models and being comfortable with constructing these basic discounting exercises. Good luck.